Greetings, metalheads, and welcome to the Friday 13th YouTube channel. Today, you're going to be watching an interview with Canadian thrash metal band Aggression. Now, Aggression have just released their new album for Massacre Records. It's called Frozen Aggressors. It's only just been released on the 1st of December. So I'd like to thank Denis for doing this interview. Thanks, Denis, you're a rock man. I'd also like to thank Mona at Massacre Records for setting up this interview. Guys, please share this interview. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Be safe and have a great Christmas. Speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching. Greetings, metalheads. We're talking to Denis from the band Aggression from Canada. Welcome to Friday 13th.
Jason.
Yeah, how you doing, brother? I'm good, brother. So I'm going to ask you some warm-up questions first, Denis. You know, as a guitarist, and vocalist, what came first in the early stages of your career? Was it guitar or vocals?
Actually, it was neither. I started playing drums was my first instrument. I used to play drums in a punk band called the Brats, and we used to do like covers of like the Damned, Ramones, like very early days of punk. And then my parents split up, and then we moved from my house in my like dream basement to an apartment with my dad. So then I was not able to play drums anymore because neighbors they don't want to hear drums in an apartment. So then I switched to bass and joined like a prog band. We used to play like Rush, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and like Yes, and all that stuff. So complete and then I went from punk to prog to then I bought Venom, Welcome to Hell, and I stayed in the prog band for a little while. But then I was like, no, I want to do this. So then I started to around like 82, 83, I started to try to recruit musicians who wanted to play extreme metal with me. And then I switched to guitar, and I couldn't find anybody who wanted to play guitar like Mantis. So I screw it, I'm gonna do it myself. And then I switched to guitars, and then myself and our bass player Doug at the time, we were handling vocal duties until we decided to have like a lead singer. But yeah, that's how I started to play guitar. It's a real it's a weird progression, but it happens more often than you would think. A lot of guitar players started on another instrument than their guitar.
So has anybody in your family play instruments before you decide to play drums?
No, nobody at all. It's just I when I was a little kid, I used to watch Elvis movies, and I saw him surrounded by girls, and I'm like, okay, I want to do that. So that was the initial motivation. And after that, as I started to discover Kiss and Black Sabbath and Nazareth and all those bands, then I just wanted to do I don't know, drumming really appealed to me at that time. And then that's how I started to pick up the instrument.
Okay, then. So your first band, Asylum, originally called Asylum. Why did you change the name?
I don't know. I think our manager at the time and our bass player, like Johnny and Doug, they wanted to have a name that was more representative of the music. Yes, we were crazy, but they wanted something that had more impact. And at the time, I didn't like it. I thought it was too generic, like Aggression. I wanted to be more. I wanted to be called something more, a little bit more dangerous, or more the ideas I had in my mind was Antichrist, and all all driven by Welcome to Hell and black metal by Venom. All the ideas I had was around that. So, but we did a vote, and then we settled on Aggression. At the time, I never really liked the band name, just until more recently that I started to kind of enjoying the name and what it represents, and now I can say I'm happy that they made the decision back then to switch the name to Aggression.
So is Aggression, you are the original member of the band still to this day?
Yeah, I'm the only one left.
So what's happened
And
to the other guys? What happened to them? What happened to the other musicians?
well, Gate. I think in 2005, we did a concert in Montreal with all original members except Gate. And I live in Vancouver, BC, which is about like I don't know, like over 4,500 kilometers from Montreal. So impossible to like even though now lots of bands are like remote everywhere. But I don't know. I had my own band in BC called Cradle to Grave, which was more like a corrosion of conformity down
What
type thing.
the oh right, the later COC, not the early COC.
Yeah. And then you know, there was a lot of demand to get aggression going, and I King Fowley from Deceased, who's
Oh, I
a
know
very
that guy. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, October 31.
very persistent kind of guy,
Yeah.
said to me like, "Hey, we want aggression at Defenders of the Old in New York." So then I recruited some guys here in Vancouver to do the job. But I still talk to like Bern. Bern lives in Montreal. I just went to see him when we played out there. Doug is on the East Coast, doing well. Gate passed away,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I had that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and Butcher and Byrne, they still like hang out and do music. Butcher had a few projects with Snake from Voivod, one called Parano Land, that he was playing with him, and then they had a few other bands together after. Uh, so like yeah, the ex singer from Aggression Butcher and Snake from Voivod, they do have a few musical projects together.
Yeah, say I was going to say to you, Dennis. There's something about Quebec bands. They all seem to be very technical, very weird, and very aggressive. You've got a Voivod, you've got you guys, aggression, you've got Dead Brain Cells, and you've got Soothsayer. You're all very similar in styles, but all have your own aggression somehow. Do you agree with me?
I do agree, and I think Quebec, because we're the only like French entity in North America, we have a tendency to do our own thing. So you know, a lot of band in the past like started to like, got bigger in Quebec, like Styx, Supertramp, like they couldn't get a lot of traction anywhere in the world, and like in Quebec, they used to become like star status before they were everywhere in the world. So I think like we have a tendency to listen to our own music, to discover bands on our own terms, and I think it translates to the music that we play. Like we don't have any, you know, like Voivod, like Piggy, they used to practice right beside us, and that guy was like a genius. Like, you know, like when all the bands would go home, me and him would go into the hallway. We opened both our jam space door, and we used to jam like Uriah Heep Magician's Birthday, like till like 4 or 5 in the morning, and he would show me like weird like Emerson like and Palmer chords and Van der Graaf Generator like on the guitar. But like, you know, like you would not think like, okay, Voivod, Van der Graaf Generator, or like Voivod, and like he used to listen to like band like Cactus and
Yeah,
some
Robert
like
Vanville's a big Cactus fan.
yeah, so like I think like that's why the music from Quebec sometimes seems a bit different, or it's just because we just do our own thing, like, and we don't have any like musical barriers. A lot of people say like, oh, aggression from song to song, it's not the same. Why are you guys like? Because I don't believe in limitations. Music is art. It should be, you should have the ability to do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
Okay, of course I could write like 10 Green Goblin song on an album back to back, but what's the fun into that? I prefer to go and challenge yourself in doing plus I like those like, you know, when I bought like Venom at War with Satan with the 20-minute I'm like, what the hell are they doing, right? But we grew up on that stuff, like, you know, 2112 and Tarkus, and like, why have limitation? Just do whatever the hell you want, right?
Yeah. So Dennis, would you say your first record was an album called Forgotten Skeleton before the full treatment? Was that the first album?
Yeah, Forgotten Skeleton was our first record. We recorded that in like '86, and it never came. never came out. We signed with a new label called Face Melt Record, which was owned by Scott Given, who ended up doing other things in the music world after the fact. But it never came out. We keep we're young like punks. We became so impatient for the wrong reason. Like parted ways with our management company at the time, Johnny Hart. And went and signed with Michelle Mies from Banzai Records for the full
Yeah, I was going
treatment.
to say to the first album was on Bonsai, yeah. Because I remember Metal
Yes,
Church. Metal Church also, their first album was on the same label.
yeah. So we had a period of like I think I definitely think it was driven by that waiting period. I believe if Forgotten Skeleton would have been released in '86, probably like our career would have like have been more impactful at the time. Like we would have like maybe a bigger name out there. But like we're like 19, 20 years old. Like we're like partying 24/7. Like we're not business guys. And then like the worst thing about all this was more like the broken relationship at the time. Like Byrne left, Butcher left, our manager left. And then after that, like myself and Gate, we were a bit like out of control with substance abuse and alcohol and like just not making good decisions. So it was a very uh, hectic, chaotic period, and somehow we try to function through that. Yeah, so that's why it never came out. And like it's funny because that impatient period that we're talking about was maybe like 8 months. But like in today's age, like for me, 8 months, like I can wait 2 years. I don't care, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but back then, when we were young and eager to like get our record out, and it I don't have any regrets in my life, but like that's one thing that I would definitely would have done something differently, knowing the facts and having the maturity that I have now at 57 years old.
Yeah, I mean, the first album, the full treatment, the second album, should I say, two songs on that album really stick out for me: Green Goblin and Forsaken Survival. They're so fucking extreme. They're so banging. They're so just like chaotic.
And that's all like Gate, our drummer at the time, like Gate, like even Rob from Anvil or Gene from like Dark Angel, they used to watch him play. Felix from DRI, they used to watch him be like, oh my god, that guy's like insane, and he could play so fast that like we would not be able to like follow, and he would have fun with us. He would do it on purpose so we look like we can't play our instruments, right? But he was a driving force behind like all these like me and him, we used to write songs and he would be like, can you do faster? Like and I never heard like anybody else do like scissor beat and kind of blast beat the way that he was doing them at the time. And he was just developing technique to go fast. So you were trying to like follow the so it was pretty intense. But he, like Green Goblin, a lot of it comes from him. And Forsaken Survival, like I came up with the riff, but he like the way that he played it made us go much faster. And those songs are like we still play them live today, and people like they're like still like, oh my god, that's from like 35, 40 years ago.
I mean, Forsaken Survival, the scream halfway through it is just insane.
Yeah, that's Doug, our bass player. Like we always say like he used to always have a tendency to scream like a girl, like here and there, right? So we're like, okay, let's use it. You scream there, right?
I mean,
So
that album actually came out later on through October 31, wasn't it? For King Fowl. He released it on Old School Metal because I've got the Old School Metal release.
yep, yeah, that's it. That's why, like like he always like King Fowley always been an aggression fan. And he always like help us like promote the band, and he came and stay here in the room that I'm in right now. He came when they played in Vancouver. He stayed with us, but like yeah, He definitely like a big part of why we're back together and going still after all this time.
So, I mean, you've done quite a few albums, haven't you? I mean, you did, is it Forsaken Survival? You called it something else later on. You retitled it. Is it The Return? It was called,
Oh, the Frozen Aggressor.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Return of the Frozen
The
Aggressor.
return of the Frozen Aggressor. Like,
It's
yeah.
very similar in the music style to the original.
Well, it's pretty much the same song. I just like rework some of the lyrics, and then because Frozen Aggressor was on Forsaken. Sorry, it was on Forgotten Skeleton, and it was on Full Treatment with two slightly different versions. So like I took the best of both worlds and put it into one. And on top of that, our new album is also called Frozen Aggressors because uh, in our creative mind, we created all these creatures in an aggression kind of world. We have the frozen aggressors, we have the ice lizards, we have the Simnoids, and we use chuds from that movie, from that movie from the 80s, chuds, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So we have all these creatures that we use in our lyrics randomly. Um, just for the fun of like, we're all fans of like Marvel comic. So we wanted to like use fiction into our music, just so sometimes like instead of always talking about like girls or Satan or whatever, we can also like have that like futuristic weird environment with all those creatures.
Okay, I mean, the next song that came along was Fragmented Spirit Devils, I believe, in 2016. How did you see
Yeah.
that? How did you see that as a progression from the first album, the first two albums?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit I think it's a little bit of like a introduction to the new aggression. I think there was a lot of more like death metal elements than what we used to have. And even though like if you listen to like a song from the Full Treatment, it's almost like pre death metal part, like if especially on like songs like Final Massacre. There is some little glimpse of stuff that you would see after in bands like my three all-time death metal band will always be Morbid Angel, Brutal Truth, and Entomb.
Okay.
These three,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't know why these three bands really like they came out after Aggression kind of folded, and like listening to their music, I was like, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I was trying to do, but they just do it much better. But I think so past Aggression, then you have that 90s period of like death metal and all that. So like I think some of the riff and some of the elements in that Fragmented Spirit Devil is a little bit more obvious, definitely.
So, would you say your music's kind of hardcore crossover thrash? Because I know you're influenced by, I've noticed on your biography you've toured with a lot of bands like DRI, Crumbsuckers, and all those bands. So, I guess you've got the punk
Yeah.
elements.
Well, I think it comes. I told you I was playing drums in the punk band.
Yeah.
The Ramones always gonna be one of my favorite band. I still listen to them like all the time. But I always like DRI and old COC and Agnostic Front and Cro-Mags and all those bands.
Great bands.
So, and I feel like sometimes in my mind there's not a lot of differences. Like of course, like from music you can have like you can sound either like very hardcore punk or you can sound like thrash metal or speed or like death metal and all that. But I think somewhere in the middle, from an aggressive standpoint, I think it does meet somewhere each other. And
And
that's what
so,
I think, like that's why I think like a lot of times people will be like, oh, this song is metal, this song is punk, but in my mind it's just the same, like because I listen to both. I like Rancid, I like Pennywise, and I like Bad Religion just as much as I like um like Toxic Holocaust or Midnight, are all these newer trash bands. So Yeah, just like I said, no barriers, no limitations. Just do whatever you want.
I mean, talking about thrash and punk and all that stuff, because you had an album called "Feels Like Punk, Sounds Like Thrash." So we've
Yeah.
just been talking about that. So I guess that's a really good title for what you've just been explaining.
Yeah, I think we were trying to be a little bit like obvious and just try to have fun with that album. Like it was supposed to be a demo and then we just released it the way it was. But yeah, that album has a lot also of like more obvious like punk element mixed with thrash and I don't know, like we just go slip in and out of these I you just do whatever comes out, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
look, I mean, looking at the album cover, it reminds me of a band called The Accused,
yes, and the
Martha
accused. We played with
Splatterhead, and
the
that kind of stuff.
yeah, we played with the accused at the Rage of Armageddon in New York last year. It was awesome. Like, and I saw them like years ago in Montreal, but
I used to know Tommy. I don't know if he's still in the band, is he?
is he? I don't remember.
I used to know him when he was in a band called Gunch Truck.
Oh yes, 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 yeah, yeah. Um, no, like yeah, like to me, like The Accused is another band that Aggression could play on in a bill, and well, we did, and it fit, right? Like,
Yeah,
so yeah, like I think like punk, even like we just released this album, Frozen Aggressor, and we're about to enter like pre-production for the next one.
really?
Uh,
Wow.
yeah, we're just going crazy right now, but you know, I feel like the next album has a little bit less punk element and is more like straight trash metal. I think maybe out of like 10, 11 songs we're going to record, maybe just one has a little bit of that influence, but the rest is all like pretty much crushing metal.
I mean,
But there's no strategy. We just go like, we just look at the song, we pick the best 10, best 9, 8, 10, 12, and then we just go with it.
and then the last album you did before the new one was called From Hell with Hate, released in 2022. Was that really what label released that, and how well did it do for you?
Well, it was released on Extreme Music from Spain. Dave Rotten from Evolved,
Oh, I know that guy. I
amazing
used to have
guy.
Evulsed, yeah.
Yeah, amazing guy, amazing product. We love that guy, and of course, when we had the chance to sign with a bigger label, we went with Massacre. Uh, but from Hell with Eight, and we did a EP before, like Field of Nightmares. I think like I think like we it's like the transition with me now singing and I think like from album to album you're getting closer to like the sound that Aggression is trying to achieve. It's such a long process.
Yeah.
But it's a fun process to go through because I think as a listener every album you get a little bit of all kind of different things. You cannot like always expect, oh, it's gonna be that. Like I want to keep. It's the same as when we were kids, and I would buy like a Rush album. I didn't know. I didn't know what the hell I was gonna get. Or like even if you buy like Queen, Queen used to be the extreme band of like going from heavy to like Elvis music to like country to like there was no limitations, right? So I
Yeah.
think that's what we're starting to do more and more. And From Hell, they did really well. It got a lot of praise around the world, and it's definitely like a step into the new Aggression at this point.
Okay, so how did the deal with Massacre Records come about, Dennis?
We were with a management company at the time called EMG, and Mark Knoppel from Misery Index was our manager at the time, and he did all the work. Mark's an amazing guy, and he got us in contact with Massacre. They really liked the hippie that we did with the Extreme, and then they signed us on the spot. Then we still owed From Hell with Hate to Extreme, so we finished our contract with them, and then moved with Massacre for the most recent album.
So the title Frozen Aggressors, who came up with the title?
I did, and again, it's to try to use those like mythical creatures, like and try to have like that like futuristic world. I mean, like how long are we gonna use? Like, so you have two songs named Frozen Aggressor, and then you have the Return of the Frozen Aggressor, and now you have the Frozen Aggressors. So I think we milked that concept enough.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it's like we're from Canada, right? Like it's the frozen wasteland. So, um, you know, I love like all these bands from Norway, like Immortal and all those like winter concept bands. And we were like, maybe we were like pioneer with Voivod. Voivod as Warriors of Ice. We had the Frozen Aggressor. So, like I think it's all because of like where we are and try to have like that fear,
Nordic.
yeah, Nordic impact into our music. So that's how it comes about.
I mean, I look at the artwork was done by Stephen White. I mean, I look at the artwork now and it kind of reminds me of Dan Seagrave a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit,
Because
little bit.
Entombed, like you mentioned, Entombed, and they used to do all their artwork. And
Yeah, like yeah, my oldest daughter Madison and also my ex-girlfriend Stephanie, like they kind of got we kind of I just explained the concept. I wanted like monsters in the snow, pretty much, and they came with a bunch of variety and stuff, and then we sent it to the label, and then they picked whatever they wanted. But yeah, I tried to always use people around us. I tried to get people involved, like my kids and all that, to just participate in the aggression the aggression business.
so, I mean, the album was mixed and mastered by Dan. Is it Yak? How do you say his last name?
Yakamau,
Right.
Yakamau.
Has he done anything with you before? Did you produce the album yourselves?
So he used to like our drummer Ryan used to have a band called X Bane, and he did work with him, and Ryan suggested to us to use him for this album, and what a great recommendation. We love working with him, and we hope to do the next album with him again. It was all recorded in his garage. Very like old school trash, kid vibe garage, no heat, freezing. But yeah, like it was definitely like he's a big part of the sound of the record. And he was also doing some production with us. Like he also did like another band called Therafier from the Vancouver area. But yeah, he's around. Like he's a great engineer, producer, and we hope to work with him again.
So, how long did it take to record this album, Dennis?
Not that long. Like the recording process, I think it took like 5 days, or 6 days. Like, and then the mixing after that was like a longer period. But like basically, drums is 2 days, bass is one day, guitar is one day, and then vocal a couple days. That's all we need. Like we try to like write fast so that the energy and the song are fresh, because like you can take a piece of music and keep changing it forever, but in the end, like the listener like will not care as much about, oh, do we do this part two times or three times? Like nobody cares, right? But it's all about the energy and the entity that the song is and how you want to project it to people. So we try to write and then learn the song and go in the studio in a quick period, so that these songs are fresh and still exciting, so that you can see that in the performance.
So,
So yeah, it's all very it's very quick, the way that we pre-production, recording, mixing, mastering, and then to it's a really short period of time. We got really fast, and with technology today, even easier.
did you write the songs yourself, then, Dennis? Did you come up with all the lyrics, or was it a joint band thing?
Yeah, like I usually write the music at home, and then I bring it to the band, and then the guys in the band are like 20 years younger than me, so they'll be like thumbs up, thumbs down, like, and if I bring too much like dad rock riffs, like I'm a huge fan of Kiss, Whitesnake, and all that stuff. So sometimes they're like, no, like that's not for aggression.
It's really weird that you mention all these bands because you don't sound like anything like them, completely off the scale.
No, I know, but like like at home, like I'm always listening to like Michael Schenker, Assault Attack. Like Tigers of Fandangs. That's what I listen to. I love Loudness and all those bands. So like for me, but I don't know why. Like it went from, of course, like I think like Venom, Slayer, Destruction and Celtic Frost. They all like screwed my musical life, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, like I sometimes I do have like I will bring a riff that's a little bit to John Syke or and they'll be like, that's not for us, dude, find another band for that stuff. So there's a filter process, right? And but most of the time, like I kind of know what they like now, and I try to like bring stuff to the jam space, be like, hey, what do you think of that? Or do the pre-production, so we can make sure that the music we keep is the best that we can give to our fans at that time.
Have you ever thought of doing a side project with like the Whitesnake kind of thing and the Russian, doing something different of your own?
Yeah, like I want to. I just don't have the time. Like Aggression right now, it's so busy trying to do that, and plus like aside like music, like of course I do have my job, but I also coach hockey, ice hockey, and my sons are both in hockey, and we're traveling all the time to like tournaments and stuff. I would love to have like side projects in that type. Like I think people will like the riff that we come up with. I think it's good stuff, but who knows? Maybe someday I can do that.
So, what's your favorite songs from the new album?
I think it's Hyperspectral Winter Incursion, because I wrote it with Gate back in the '80s. Like, and that song was very special to me because it's the last song we wrote together. And then he passed, so I was always as hesitant to record it because I wanted it to have like respectfully portray Gates' input in the song and things like that. So with Ryan drumming with us, like I think it was time for us to release it and
Do some justice, basically, do some justice for him.
that's it, right? So like we went and we recorded, and it sounds great. And Kyle, the bass player, sings lead vocal in that song, and I let him loose with all those creatures, and he talks about the Simnoids and the it's just a crazy progressive, like 9 minutes long song. But that's the day. Like tomorrow, like we're playing with Dark Angel tomorrow.
Oh, will you say hello to Gene for me? He's a good friend of mine.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
please.
Yeah. And so we play a new song called Crib of Thorns. That is such a good song to play live. So I think on the album, my favorite song is Hyperspectral Winter Incursions. But on playing live right now, Crib of Thorns, definitely it's really good song to play live.
How many shows are you doing with Dark Angel? Is it just one show?
We're just doing the one show in Vancouver. After that, like we're gonna like start pre-production for our next record. And then we're waiting for like touring opportunities for 2024. We want to go
I'm
back.
in. I'm in.
Yeah, we want to go back to the UK. We want to go back to Europe. Like we haven't been since 2019. And then we have to go visit our friend in the US as well. So right now, our manager Robin Mason, who plays bass in Gruesome and Castrator and all those bands, the manager of the Stars, she's hard at work finding some tours and touring opportunities for us for next year.
So how was the reviews been for you so far? Did you see my review? Did you manage to check it out?
I did, absolutely, yeah. And all the reviews like favorable. Like I haven't had like we haven't had a bad reviews. Everybody likes the fact that it sounds like genuine and from a period that trash like rule the world. But yeah, like everybody likes it. We haven't had one reviews where people like, no, this is not for me. Everybody has a favorite song. Everybody has a favorite thing, but like this is the biggest buzz aggression ad since the 80s right now, just from this new album, and it's going very well. It's going very well. It's actually overwhelming all the support and that we're getting. So you know, we embrace and appreciate every second of it.
So I'd like to thank you, Dennis, for doing this interview. Do you have anything to say to the people watching this on YouTube?
Guys, support. Go see local show, buy music, buy vinyls, buy CDs. You know, we always say that the golden era of metal was back in the 80s. You know what? I can name easily 20 albums that were released in 2023 that are amazing. Like the Dying Fetus, crazy good. The new Incantation.
Say this new album's good.
Say this new album, like, you know, and it's not only trash. There's a lot of like, you know, a lot of the new Tigers of Pantang album are amazing.
I love the early stuff, man. I saw them when I was 13 years old on the Cage tour.
So yeah, that's my message to everyone, man. Like, listen to metal, support, and be a part of it. Be involved, meet people, talk about bands. That's what we used to do way back. Give tapes to our friends and discover new music. So that's what it's all about, and we're going to create our own that's how we're going to keep our scene alive and well by just doing that. So that's my message to the listeners.